What's going on? What's happening? Well, you have found yourself on the Carpool Honcho, mate.
Oh, what's that? Yeah.
It's good to be here. So good. Well, hello to everybody out there listening to our podcast today. My name's Dean Payne from the Crate Flexible Office Space.
I'm Rory from Naked Marketing.
And our incredible Carpool Honcho guest today is Adrian Packer from IMS Projects. And we're going to climb inside this guy's head and find out some really, really good stuff today, let me tell you. So welcome, mate.
Thank you. No, looking
Good
forward
to
to
have
it.
you, eh?
Yeah, how's life?
Down from Pothole.
Down here for the day, yeah. Kind of in the big, well, near the big city, right? So, yeah, no.
They got good cheese, don't they?
Yeah, we got good cheese on the way.
Anything else good up there?
Oh,
The pub?
The pub's good, the beer's good,
the pub's good.
The lifestyle's nice.
Yeah. People are all right.
People are very good. Yeah, no.
They look really chill.
You know what? I actually did live in Pothole until they built that motorway, and my house was about 50 metres higher than that motorway.
You live that way, did you?
Yeah. So, you know,
Yeah.
got some few things in common, mate.
There you are. Yeah.
Anyway, hey, before we get on today, we want to thank our sponsors. They are awesome. So thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Today's podcast is driven by our friends at Albany Toyota.
And we are fed by our mates at Sal's Pizza.
And our tunes are brought to you from The Sound Store.
Oh man, I just want to give a shout out to our friends at Albany Toyota. Hayden and the team are amazing, guys. If you need a good quality car like this little baby here or the new Highlander, it's a hybrid, 18.
The new
Saves you a bit of money, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's very important now with the cost of fuel prices, let me tell you.
Get in there.
So if you want a good family wagon, it's good 8 seaters actually they are. 8 seaters. And with that good fuel economy, you want to be jumping into a Toyota Highlander from Albany Toyota.
Not only that, their service team is unrivaled. They're such a good bunch of people. Just go and see them. Even if you need a second-hand car, go see Albany Toyota, guys. They're great.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So on to our amazing guest today, Adrian Packer from IMS Projects. What's your website, mate? IMS.
There's a little hyphen, ims-projects.co.nz.
Yep, cool.
Yeah.
You'll notice that I'm such a good multitasker. Not only
Well,
can I
I'm
ask you your
nervous.
website, but I can also stop and not rear end cars. It's pretty big role I play.
Yep.
Goodness for our lives.
So ims-projects.co.nz.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And of course, we want to find out a little bit more about what you do. So tell us about that.
Yep. So we provide sort of innovation capability building services. So we work with organisations who want to grow essentially and grow through innovation through their people, and we help them understand how to do that and how to build the internal capability to make that happen on a repeated basis.
It's important.
Yeah, it's super important, right? I mean, the world's changing. We need organisations that can respond to the big challenges that we face, right? And we see our role is helping organisations. Certainly the purpose and cause-driven organisations do more of what's important to deliver their cause out there, right?
Do you only deal with larger corporates or?
No. We work with organisations. We don't work with very many startups. The startup space for innovation's fairly well catered for, right? But we would work with our smallest company. We probably have about 10 people in it. But we work from there right the way through to. Fletcher Building, Silver Fern Farms, they're the bigger
Big
players
boys, eh?
we play with, yeah.
And what does your team look like?
We're quite small. There's 8 of us. I like to think we're all kind of fairly senior and quite professional, you know. So we're you know, a lot of consultancies will have teams of juniors. You know, they kind of you know, they sell it in and then bring in somebody else to do the work, right? But we're not like that. We're more a partner with the senior leadership team to help them achieve what they want to achieve, right? So Brilliant. It's important that we have people who can play at that level.
So Adrian, tell us, that's so cool, mate. Hey, can you tell me a little bit about why you do what you do?
So kind of, I've said a little bit of it before, right? So I think a lot of the world's problems that kind of are around are sometimes blamed on business, right? Business is the cause of a lot of these issues.
Yes.
But it's got to be the solution to it, right? What else can we do? It's going to be teams of people working together that solve our challenges. And so what I see as part of my role is helping to make those teams more effective, so they can solve more of those problems, right? And
That is cool.
you can do some of it yourself, but if you can coach and train other people to do more of it, then we're hoping our reach and our spread grows. Right?
Very cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
I was at a business seminar this morning. This guy was talking, and one of his points was, cash is king, which we hear so often. And someone from the audience kind of said, I disagree.
Right.
He says, I think that right now in this environment that we're in business is actually your staff are king, your team.
100%.
Now the guy speaker came back and goes, well, without cash you can't pay your staff.
Yeah.
So he had a good point. It wasn't a quick, complete write-off.
Yeah.
But, obviously staff are so hard. Good staff are so hard to come by.
Yeah.
And if you lose good staff in this kind of environment, it's going to be extremely hard to replace them.
Or to make money.
Yeah. So kind of looking after your staff, and I guess from your point of view is what you do is not only kind of make that business more productive and more efficient, but actually I would imagine that it kind of really lifts the enjoyment factor of people in their workplace, right? Because
I think that's right. The biggest reward that we get is going back to organizations that we've worked with previously and seeing a positive impact in the people that we've worked with, right? And so that means often removal of frustrations, the ability to generate more impact for themselves, the ability to kind of operate with more kind of freedom, creativity, and control over what they're trying to achieve. So it's definitely super rewarding. I think the other thing I would add to the mix is when you get an engaged and empowered team working beneath an organization with quite a strong cause or a mission, then you begin to build quite an unstoppable sort of system. Do you know what I mean? It reinforces themselves.
With momentum,
and if you're driving for money as your outcome, then it's very hard to achieve that. If you've got an outcome of a purpose, then it's a little easier.
That is the second time I heard that in 2 days. Tony Robbins said that yesterday as well.
really,
You got to find your why. Yeah, good.
is that on your phone
Love
call,
it.
your personal phone call with Tony Robbins?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I spoke to Jacinda yesterday as well.
That's it. Yeah.
How did that go?
That's a conversation for another day.
That's cool. All right, so we are on this incredible topic at the moment called dealing with dangerous habits. And I guess life can be filled of things that creep into our lives that, and if I use the word dangerous, I guess what we're really trying to hit is some things can start off small as kind of unhelpful. Things that you start to do might be really, really helpful to you in the beginning, but they turn into something that's a bigger deal and become sort of dangerous or more of a handbrake in your life, or an obstacle that really sort of sets itself in stone, and then you've got a problem on your hands, right? So we're really looking to our guests at the moment to say, hey, what's something that you do that helps you either break a habit or stay away from some of the things that for you might have been a little bit leaning towards in that danger zone. So the first question is, what do you do and when do you do it?
Yep. Okay. So, I guess mine is a bit of become a sleep habit, right? So it's the when I do it is when I'm going to bed, right? So I find and have found it's quite important for me personally to maintain in my life the things that make me happy, right? They can fall away quite easily. And so all I do essentially now is as I'm going to bed, just as I get into pulling up the sheets, that part of the going to bed bit, right? I just spend a couple of moments, 2 minutes or so, just thinking of myself in situations and imagining myself being happy in those situations. So it's really quite simple. It could be a thing in the past. So when I started doing it, I've got a 12-year-old daughter, and when she was young, one of my favorite things to do was take her out swimming, and so I remember those things, and it made me feel good, and I'd go to sleep. But now it could be things in the past. It could be situations I'm going to be in the future, or it could be things that I just imagine and go, well, this is going to be happening. What would be my most happy in that moment, right? And that's it. That's what I do.
Because naturally you sort of go, well, I do anyways, but I go to bed thinking about the day, thinking about what I haven't done, thinking about work incessantly, but you have to get your mind off that as soon as possible. So what you're saying is take yourself out of work, put yourself into a good situation, maybe in the past, like Dean does. He thinks about being a unicorn. So
Well, you're right. So I used to. So I'm a sort of a planner by kind of instinct. You know what I mean? So that's my relationship with time, right? And I used to. The nature of my work is I work whenever I need to. So I would often get my daughter to bed, and then you'd have an hour and do work, and then I go. The most productive thing to do is to think about tomorrow and what I'm going to get done. And before you know it, you're kind of like, oh, I haven't done this bit. I won't get to sleep until I've done that. Yeah. You know, and I thought, well, that isn't going to work for me. So I've got to find a different way of preparing for the future or being ready for things that isn't that doesn't sort of build that planning muscle, right? So, hey, I'll ask you a question, right? If you were to point to the future, where would you point? No, not you. Rory, where'd you point? If you're pointing to the future, where would you point?
Probably still.
Well, physically point. Show me. Actually, point to the future now.
Sitting on an island with a yacht.
And then point. Show me it directionally where the future is.
Where's the future? There.
Right in front of you, right? For you, where would you point to the future? Right. So we all have this different relationship with time, essentially, right? So typically, if I were to point at the future, I'd be kind of like over there, right? Lots of people are like that. They go, the future's a timeline that I can see in front of me, right? And other people are like you, where the timeline goes through them. So you can be like through time or in time. And people like me who are kind of this way tend to like planning, which tends to take you away from being present in the moment, right? And are you a good planner? Do you have to put in place structures to help you plan?
I need to. I wouldn't say I'm a good planner, but yeah.
So people who are kind of through time, who go, the future's here, past is gone, they're pretty good at being present, but pretty bad at being ready for the things, right?
Yeah.
And so my mindset was this way, which meant that I was, I've mucked this up and I've got this to come and it's all a disaster, and it pulls you away from being present, pulls you away from being able to enjoy things, if that's your natural version. For you, up and down, I have no idea.
What does that mean?
No idea. You want to get on the internet pretty quick and have a get some help.
Doctors have been trying to sort it out for a long time.
Can you just come down to Dean and myself's level for a minute? Because you're super smart. How long did it take you? Because there must be a reason, but how long did it take you to actually get this habit into place? Was it a week, or was it just 2 days, 12 days?
Yeah, it kind of emerged, right? So there was a period in my life when that kind of being maybe a strong planner or overly using that muscle was beginning to impact me, and a couple of things happened that didn't go my way, and I began to feel a little negative, I guess, and a little unhappy and maybe a bit resentful. So there was a couple of things that were going on that were not pleasant, right? And so I decided that I needed to change the way that I was thinking. So I gave up alcohol, right? That's one thing I did. I gave up. I started to try to meditate a little bit more, and so all of those things were really good. And I tried to implement a habit of meditating more, but found it was difficult. So I did it when I got up in the morning, and then our lifestyle changed. We moved up to Puhoi, and found that the morning slot was, not the best time to be doing it. Yeah. And so I found that a very difficult habit to get into, and so I started to kind of try to become more present at various parts in the day, right? So I don't know, if you got a moment, you remember to do it then. But it was something that I actively had to remember to do, and so I then decided to change it and do something as I was going to bed. And rather than meditating, I just found it more valuable for me to just try to think about being happy. Right, that's a capability that I think we all need to keep building, and that's what I decided to do.
And it's a really easy thing, let's be honest, to sometimes fall into that space of being a bit depressed, a bit down, a little bit things are too hard, and a bit disconnected from life or relationships or whatever, or business, and it's easy, right? It's an easy trap to fall into. It's a danger zone that it's kind of just there in life, isn't it? It's never too far away, really.
I think I think dead right. And I think the trap is to go, I need to do this in order to be happy, right? And that's when you're going to bed thinking about the next day, all the things you've got to do, you kind of, well, for me, what I was training myself to do was go, well, this time tomorrow, I'll have done those things, so I will be more able to be happy, right? It's like, well, that's just a kind of a fool's game, because that goes on forever, right?
Yes.
What about just being right now, being happy, right?
What am
about
I happy with?
Yeah. And so those kind of things like being grateful and, you know, gratitude, they're all super useful things, right? And so, yeah.
But you actually visualize the things that you're happy about. Is that correct? Am I right in there 2 minutes?
So sometimes I will go the things that I am happy about now, like a gratitude thing, or the things I've been happy about in the past. But often I will just go, right, what have I? So you talked about the tomorrow, the to-do list. Say I've got to drive all the way to so-and-so Hamilton, right? And Hamilton appeal to me. I go, well, that's what's going to happen. So imagine yourself being happy in there. And I go, well, that's okay. I'm happy with what's going on around me. Cool. And then things come up like, well, you've probably been meaning to read the book for a while, so download the ebook before you get in the car, or the audiobook, put it on. Right, I've got some time for myself now, so the challenge of driving becomes now a positive. I'm in control of my unhappiness in that period of time. And I just figure that if we take control of our unhappiness in every moment, then we're not on the road towards being happy. We're able to do that whenever we want to be doing it. Right?
Jeez, you're planning everything in your life, don't you?
Well, no, I have a tendency to think that way, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of helpful in some ways and very unhelpful in lots of other ways, right?
Yeah.
So in one sentence, Adrian, just tell us, why is this so important to you that you found this habit, that you spend 2 minutes at night just thinking about a happy place or a happy situation that puts you to sleep? Why is that so important to you?
Yeah, I think it's the things that it enables you to build around it, right? So a protection against falling into negative thinking habits is one of those things, right?
Yeah, magic.
And then the other thing would be, I think there is something in, if you imagine or think about good things happening, then they probably are more likely to happen, right? I mean, so the audiobook is a very trivial example, but there'll be other examples. You know, the times when I say think about a successful RFP, right, and actually go in that mindset and go, actually imagine that actually receiving the, imagine yourself when that's happening. What do you feel like?
Yes.
You get those feelings, even if it's not about that RFP, they do come back to you, I reckon.
Yes.
So there is a training yourself to be more open to accepting things and being, all that type of stuff. Yeah.
So cool. Awesome, mate. I think we've kind of covered the whole kind of idea of, why is this important to you? Do you want to add anything else to that?
Well, no, I think it's all of those things, right? So I think a lot of people will try to build like big habits, like meditation habits or practices, or like writing down a million things they're grateful for. And I would just the easy way, the lazy way, is just to do what I've just done, right? Just
the smart way,
just break it down.
I think
and
people
build it.
overcomplicate the whole meditation thing a lot of the time, to be honest. But that's a whole nother conversation.
No, I actually agree, right? I don't think there's always a right way to do it, but if you can find a way of calming your mind regularly as a habit, then I think you will benefit from it.
Yeah.
And it's different for everybody, right? It's a different scenario maybe, or a process you go through. It's a different maybe place, and quite often a different time. And like your time actually changed, right? It used to be in the morning and then it became a night thing. But it's okay to kind of go with the flow and kind of learn what's right for you in that season of life and what's going on around you. But finding that space where you can relax and in your case, focus on happiness and what makes you happy. And I really do just love what you had to say about the fact that, maybe your mind is dwelling on, tomorrow I've got to do this and I'm not really looking forward to it. Well, actually, imagine yourself in that situation being happy. What would be going on? It's something really tangible that I can pluck away and go, I can change that situation. I can actually have power over that situation to actually cause it to be a place of contentness and something that I'm enjoying and looking forward to, right?
And you said to me earlier, Adrian, everyone's looking for happiness. And I believe that. I think we're all striving for happiness, but I also say we're all striving for peace. And it's to find those things that actually give us that. But we should all start becoming more excited about life, I think. We're always looking and focusing on the hardships of life.
Yeah, I'm not sure everybody is always open to their happiness being the most important thing in their life, right? I think a lot of people have that sounds quite selfish to people, or they might feel it sounds, it might be a bit guilty for them. But if you can accept that actually, if I make myself the most happy I can be, I'm probably doing things that are good for other people too. Do you know what I mean? Most people get a sense of well-being by helping other people, right? They don't get a sense of wellness by being, frustrated. So I think it's one step to overcome is going, actually, it's my job to make myself happy. It's part of what I got to do, right? That's my responsibility. And these things are happening, and I can either be resentful about these things happening, or I can take responsibility to be happy in those situations.
That's cool.
I think that's
very cool.
Yeah, a decision you make, a choice you make. And it took me a little while, 40-ish years, to realise that was a decision that was mine to make. Yeah.
I've got this thing at the moment. I'm actually just really appreciating age, and just the years under your belt, because it's these little gems that suddenly sort of settle in your life that, when you're younger, you kind of just, you're trying to conquer the world and do all stuff, and you kind of sometimes miss the heartbeat of good things in life that actually do matter and actually help you lift your game a bit more effortlessly, right? Yeah.
Either that, or you have to put in a lot of work to compensate for the things you're losing, right?
Yeah,
Maybe that's what's going on.
Is this what happens at 60?
You dreamer.
Yeah.
You're a dreamer. All right, very cool. So people out there that are looking to get started,
improve themselves, and implement these things, give our audience a little bit of a tip there, and insight into how they can improve and how they can implement this little trick into their lives.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess it's just a choice, first of all, right? Find a time that works, and find a way to imagine what being happy means for you, right? I guess there's not much more to it than that. I think the other thing to add to it is, one of the bad habits is being sort of caught in either today or being caught in tomorrow, right? Both of those things have advantages and disadvantages, right? But if you want to really you want to be able to think bigger and achieve more in your world, then I think there's a process that you can apply to doing that, right? And it's a combination of giving yourself that permission to think bigger about what's possible for you. And you can do that in those moments. You can just let yourself go and go, when I'm 5 years time, unconstrained from how I'm going to get there, these will be the things that kind of I could be doing, right? And then the second part of it is really just helping to implement things more quickly, so freeing yourself up to be able to actually do stuff tomorrow or the next day, right? So if you can build those two habits quite with some intent, then I feel that you can get some rewards out of doing this type of stuff.
Cool.
Does that all make sense?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
So
One thing, I mean, I battle with sleep, but one thing I've actually implemented is pretty similar to what you do. All that I need to do to put myself to sleep is think about a conversation with Dean, and I'm out.
Knocked out.
Yeah. So look, I'm not sure I really always struggled with sleep. I'm a relatively good sleeper, but it is in those darker times of the day. You know what I mean? That if you are going to be mulling over stuff, that the bad stuff comes in your head, right? So
I think we all battle with that, though.
Yeah.
I love it. It's been a really, really cool conversation, and one I think that we're gonna, it's just a simple little thing, and that's what we really want to just provide our listeners with, is those simple little nuggets that they can implement something, that might work for them, and just to sort of, make. And I think happiness is an amazing octane, isn't it? It's an amazing fuel that can, really boost you and help you live your best life, and that's so cool.
Yeah. I mean, we're all striving for happiness, and one of the things is we all three at the crate, right? And that place makes me happy, Dean. I promise you it does. Hey, Adrian, why do you place yourself at the crate? Tell us.
Yeah, cool. There's a couple of reasons. So, I mean, there's a bit of history. So I joined through a relationship with a different company. They said, come along and join us there. So that's how it started.
Oh, wow.
And while I guess I continued is, with respect, Dean. I mean, I got a lot out of, being welcomed in the morning by Andy and Tiffany. You know,
awesome.
they're a great crew, right? So you feel very welcome.
Not so much Dean.
Yeah. You know, I love you, Dean, but you know,
He's
those
alright.
other people make me feel very, very welcome when I get there,
So
which is
good.
good.
They are the
They are
best.
great.
Yeah, and it's great to be able to welcome clients. So we're a small organisation, so you know the alternative to being there is a kind of, you know, a small little pokey little office, right?
Yeah.
And if they come to the crate, they get welcomed by the team. They're known by name often,
Yes.
and they get very well looked after. Get offered a coffee. We get moved into meeting spaces
How
that
good are those
feel.
boardrooms? They're so
Yeah,
professional.
exactly. You feel very. It helps us project the image that we want to project by that whole front of office thing and the spaces that we work in.
Mate,
So that's the main thing.
it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you. Dean,
Well, I
been a
watched the
pleasure.
road. Someone's trying to drive in front of me.
Don't worry, Toyota's a good great brakes.
It's been awesome. Adrian, what a legend.
Thank you, guys.
IMSprojects.co.nz.
Yep.
And again, just give us a quick 30-second sort of pitch on, you know, people that are looking for someone like you. What do you do? What can you do for them?
Yep. So we help to help business leaders through their teams achieve more of what they want to achieve. Right. So typically innovation for growth and productivity improvements.
Amazing. Thanks,
Cool.
mate.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and tune in next week. See you
Thank you.
later, guys.